kick him out. But yeah, I was watching a documentary of him the other day, and he was saying that he doesn't even have the internet in his house, Matt. He has no internet, no mobile phones. He just has like a payphone right at the end of where he's living, which you have to get in a car to get there, by the way. That he speaks to Paul Heyman on every now and then, and that is it. So he is completely cut off from any social media. He doesn't listen to any of that. I doubt he probably even watches any wrestling that's going on. He probably just turns back in WWE and is like, well, who's champion now? You know, what's happened since? You know, who am I facing tonight? I think that's it. So very interesting lifestyle from him. Quite an interesting character. Okay, moving on, Matt. Kerry now, and this harps back to something that you brought up earlier, Matt. Is HBK really coming back at Crown Jewel? Do you think it's going to tarnish his career? Interesting point there. So, Matt, what do you think? Is this a looking like a done deal? Because we thought, I remember, was there something like AJ Styles put a poster out once of him and Shawn, and then I remember them talking about it at like that table for free or whatever it was, and it was quite a legit thing. Like AJ was trying to goad him into it, but Shawn Michaels was having none of it, and he said on that, like, it would be like Shawn Michaels then and Shawn Michaels now, and I just wouldn't want that. But does money talk, Matt?
It definitely does. Like Shawn said though, he did say that he would only come back if the storyline made sense and it had to be the right opponent at the right time, probably for the right money as well, which has worked out quite well for him.
Yeah.
But I guess the Undertaker is the right guy because he did retire him, so if he came back for another match against him, it's kind of the same as when he went out. I guess it's not like he's turned his back on it. The storyline runs and continues from where it left off, I suppose. But it's not really necessary. But a lot of people do want to see that one more match. And I do like about Shawn that he does have his reservations and he knows his limitations. And he does know that he's aged quite a bit since then. So, working a tag match is probably the best deal for that.
Yeah. I'm very 50-50 about it. I think if anything, I would prefer it to be a tag match because there's no way, mark my words, they could ever duplicate anything that they did at 25 and 26. Like, it's just not going to happen now. And, you talk about WrestleMania 25 and 26, we're like 10 years on from there, Matt. And even then, that seemed like the end of quite a lot there when Shawn Michaels retired at WrestleMania 26. I'm thinking now, like, yeah, I know Shawn could go. And there's no doubt, if you ever, even when Shawn come back a couple of years ago and done like that running spot with, I think it was the New Day, he looked like in great physical shape. I don't doubt he could do it. He's that type of performer, but I just think him and The Undertaker, like, knowing they'll put so much pressure about, remember the last time we faced each other, and it's just never going to live up to that, ever. So I do feel like I am a bit miffed about it, if I'm honest. I do think maybe the only way, money has spoke a little bit here to Shawn, and, it makes perfect sense, which good for him, by the way. He's going to make a lot of money for doing a tag team match, essentially, here, which is pretty good. He's probably going to make more money then than he did in those two WrestleManias combined, probably. That's probably the likelihood of it. But as far as tarnishing his career, I guess that could happen. I mean, it depends how it goes. To be honest with you, if they do a tag match, Matt, the four performers, without sounding, I don't think they'd have to really give 100% each to make that match be good. Because all four performers are very, like, kind of over characters that I think you could just play off that without having to go completely balmy for a 5-star match. I think there'd be enough just in the reaction of all the guys and the suckets and the DX and all that type of stuff. I think there's enough surrounding it without having to sort of go for a 5-star match. But if he did one match, Matt, I guess it always begs the question, is he up for more? You know, because you get him out for that one match, then everyone starts talking about WrestleMania, don't they? So where does it ever end? And I wonder if because he's always been very adamant he ain't coming back, and I wonder if he would be thinking, if I do this, I'm never going to get, people are never going to stop asking. And I wonder if he'd want that. I don't know, because he does always seem like a private person at times about it. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I feel like it is a problem because the fans can ask a bit too much.
Yeah.
We all knew that he had his last match, but that doesn't stop everyone from asking, you know.
Yeah.
It can get to you a little bit after that. But, you know, if he does have this match, I do kind of feel like a little bit of wrestling, you know, the old school vibe dies.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I think about, like, a guy who was true to his word and, you know, stuck by it, I feel like it was Shawn. Like, he did retire and that was it. I mean, look at like guys like Rick. You know, he had his match in WWE and he went out perfectly, but it didn't stop him from getting in the ring again. You know,
Mick Foley.
To make some more money there.
Yeah.
I just wish that guys knew when to call it a day and they knew
Man.
when like when they've peaked, when they've had their best match and they've gone out and you can't go out on any better note. And I feel like Shawn was that guy. He respects the Undertaker, and he knew he had that moment where, you know, you're not going to get a better shot to go out than this. So, you know, a lot of people don't get to choose their last match, but he did, and he did it perfectly. I just feel like if he has another one, he's not going to get that opportunity again, really.
Yeah, another name that springs to mind when you say things like Mick Foley. The worst one I always think is Terry Funk. I remember Beyond the Mat. It was, you know, it's quite a major part of the story. It was sort of like that was where they were going, and you know, he was retiring against Bret Hart, the WWF champion. Next year he's back as Chainsaw Charlie at WrestleMania 14. Is this so? I remember him in the UK as well. 2004 at the Coventry Sky Dome. His promo was the first ever, 65 plus man still wrestling. He's another one of those. So you got to be careful with stuff like that, really. Knowing when to finish up things. Obviously, if you look at people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's never ever. I don't think you'll see him come back. I think he's going to stick to that. I'm sure he's had some offers in the past. I'm sure they could have made an easy worked match for him. But, I think Austin's the type of guy that he cares a lot. He obviously takes a lot of pride in that match with The Rock. That was it. Because I remember him saying that he was worried about stinking the joint out that night because he might not be able to do the things he could do. So, we will see. We will see indeed on that one for Shawn Michaels. Speaking of DX, we got DX1. So Roman is getting over by 5%. I mean, it's basically because of the Shield, right? Question mark. Why isn't WWE ever looking at anyone else? I think AJ Styles is treated bad like Punk was, as he never gets to close a pay-per-view or have clean finishes, and never seems to be the poster boy like Roman is. Is AJ always going to be referred to as the number 2 when in actual fact he is the greatest wrestler on the planet, in my opinion, right now? Interesting point there, but Matt, is it a bit like the whole CM Punk thing? Because I remember CM Punk held that title for ages, but then if you look at his main events closing the shows, it was rare. It was always John Cena. So is that sort of the same? Is it still that way, or is this a? Let me say to you this, Matt. Is this an AJ Styles Roman thing, or is this a SmackDown and Raw thing?
Oh, I don't even look at it that way.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like, how has Roman got to the spot that he's in now? I mean, how long has he been at the top? Was it 3-4 years?
Yeah.
I guess. He's been running with this and people have been hating against it. It's because they've known for a long time that John Cena is going, and he has now gone.
Yeah.
Effectively, he's not the face of the company, and he is now Roman, the face of the company, because Roman is the guy who has the look, whether you hate it or you like it, or he has that kind of big, muscly, long hair. Women love him probably. He's got that kind of look. You can sell him, put him on all your products. He's very marketable.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying that AJ isn't. But what I will say is that AJ is, the wrong side of 40 now. He's heading into that area. Like anything that he wrestles now is great, but it's always on that time where you're thinking, how long can his skills stay at the top? Because, no offense to the guy, I mean, he's definitely got a great mind for wrestling and everything, but everyone needs to evolve now and then. Sooner or later, the high flying moves have to stop, and sooner or later he has to change his game somehow. And I'm sure he'll still go for at least a few years, at the top level.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about Roman, and he'll be consistent. Whether you like him, whether you don't, the skill level he has now, it will stay the same for, say, the next 10 years or so. He can carry that on and, bring the company on to whatever level they need. Obviously, they see him as the guy that they can run with. Now, John Cena definitely carried that weight or that shoulder on his company, the company on his shoulders for like 10, 15 years, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, to throw another point at you, Matt, just think of this. The argument I would have with AJ Styles, isn't it strange, Matt? Brett, I'm going to throw this one at you. Brett in 97 was 43 at that time, Matt. And it's kind of weird, isn't it, how we now consider like AJ as old? Is that just because he's been around for so long, or is it because he's been like just everywhere and we've just known him, or it's just odd to think about?
Because AJ has always been an excellent guy, and he's always had a good way of getting himself the exposure. Like when his time had come up at TNA, he did a great job of keeping himself relevant on the independents. And then when he went to New Japan, he got himself some great exposure there. He's always entered the company and worked his arse off and proved that he deserves to be in the main event spot. So, that's great. And he's probably one of the few guys that, if I was going to name someone like that has worked in every company and has been the standout star, it's got to be AJ. So, when someone says that he is the best working wrestler in the world today, I would agree with that. I mean, the guy definitely can work with anyone, any size. We saw it with Brock Lesnar. There's no one this guy can't work with and make a match look great out of. And I do feel like, if things were fair, AJ should be the face of the company. But it's all just, politics and who's right at the moment and who can you run with for the longest amount of time. And they've put a huge amount of investment in Roman, and they're not going to change their horse anytime soon. Yeah,
I hope that given how long now AJ's had that belt for, I hope that they kind of run with that for as long as they can. In a way, I mean, they seem like they're quite serious with him, because I think if they wasn't, I think that they would have kind of had that belt like a hot potato for a while between a lot of guys, because there's a lot of guys that could have that belt on SmackDown. You look at Nakamura, Samoa Joe, they're not handing it out lightly, and in the past that would have happened. So I do feel like AJ does have quite a cemented respect within WWE now. Like, I feel he had to earn it at the beginning for some strange reason. But I think he's done that, and I think they've seen now this guy, he's what he says he is, and he can do it. So I hope now that in a lot of ways, I don't expect him to be the face of the company, but I would like to see, us say, well, AJ Styles was not only a legend in all these indie promotions like ROH, TNA and New Japan, but actually conquered it very just as well in WWE, because he's almost getting to that stage now, Matt, where you feel like one more WrestleMania, one big match again, and I think he'd probably done it, to be honest with you.
What ties into our previous question as well, actually, with this is AJ. I look at him now and I think, he is the next guy, like Shawn Michaels, who can choose his perfect retirement match, and you can do it in the WWE in front of the largest audience, at WrestleMania, biggest stage, and I know it would be perfect. I'd love to see that moment for him, because after all his hard work he's put in for his career, to go out on a note which is of his choosing against his perfect opponent, and if Shawn Michaels is going to come back, it could very well be him.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But I'm hoping AJ's got a lot longer left in him than Shawn, though, to be fair.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. Okay, next question, Billy. At the Australian Super Show, do you think it will be a good show as I'm going? Okay, Billy, well, that's cool. I'm glad you're going to be there. I think it's going to be a good show, because First of all, WWE haven't done a show like this in Australia for ages. I think the last big show they've done like this was Global Warning.